all of the like subtleties are amazing. And also if you like, it's one of those films that when you get the whole picture, you start thinking back to the whole film.
It's like, okay, so is anything going to happen in this movie? Or are we just going to get these like short stories that follow on each other? You know what I mean?
They don't go too deep and explain things, but there's weird things in there, but you're so okay with it, you know? Hi, I'm Kyllian.
And I'm Jaco.
And I'm Mark.
And welcome back to Department Spotlight, the show where we talk to our friends and colleagues about their experiences in the film industry and so on and so on. But today, we will not be talking about any of that. We are going to be talking about our favorite films from last year and the films which weren't our favorites, which we really don't like or somewhat just lightly despise.
Disappointments.
Our disappointments from last year. That's what we're going to be doing today. So let's get into it. It's going to be exciting. Hopefully there's some debates and some interesting stuff for you guys to listen to and watch. So let's get into it.
My top three.
So wait, how are we going to do this? You're going to say your top three and your bottom three, and then we're going to discuss them, or you're going to say one, then we'll discuss it. We'll say another one and we discuss.
I'm not sure.
Let's go one at a time, maybe.
So if there's movies that one of us haven't seen, then we're not going to spoil it, but we are going to talk spoilers if we have all three seen the movies. So we'll give another spoiler warning before we talk about those movies, but just a heads up, there might be some spoilers for movies that you may not have seen.
Light spoilers.
Number one. They're in no particular order, but I've got three other honourable mentions.
Okay.
Power of the Dog.
Power of the Dog.
That's a good one.
I have not seen it yet. I'm sorry to everyone.
Power of the Dog is good. Me and Mark watched it. It was like one night we just watched it. You live far. So it's on Netflix. Very good. Very good. Jane Campion, director. Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, her husband.
Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons, thank you.
Man Dunst.
Yeah. Very good. I enjoyed it. I would say, though, I got a little bit bored right before they revealed the thing. I feel like it went a little bit too long. Yeah, so that's why I didn't put it on my list.
Do you guys think it's going to be... Well, probably is going to be getting some Oscar buzz.
Well, I hope so. The performances were really good. The direction is really good. Cinematography is really good. I just didn't think it was like... Just because like I got a little bit like I was like, okay, we get it.
I think that it's got a very like considered pace. I love the way things unfolded. She never like talks down to the audience at all. All of the like subtleties are amazing. And also if you like, it's one of those films that when you get the whole picture, you start thinking back to the whole film and you're like, oh my gosh, it was all there. You know what I mean?
Incredible.
Like simultaneously doesn't hide anything away from you ever, but everyone is so repressed in their feelings that it's almost like their repression is like the thing that's stopping everything from being revealed for so long. Yeah.
I mean, I get that. I agree with you. I think there's like maybe it was definitely like a choice to like drag things on a bit, but I just feel like some of like there was like just like 10% before the like good stuff and after this establishment of everything where I was like, okay, I get it. I don't need to see this. What are you guys doing? Nothing's happening. So that's what I felt, but it was very good.
What was your favorite thing about it, man? Like what was like the thing that made it onto your list?
Benedict Cumberbatch's performance, man, the writing is so good.
Who wrote it? Was it the director as well?
Yeah, it's an adaptation of the book, yeah.
Cool, yeah. So, thumbs up.
All right, Power of the Dog, still need to watch it so I can weigh in on this conversation next time, but yeah.
Cool, next.
Licorice Pizza.
Licorice Pizza.
Another film I've not seen.
Okay, but to be fair, it's not out in South Africa just yet. It's probably out by now when you're watching this. But me and Mark got
they flew out to LA and watched it in LA.
We got a special screening at Stokey Nicole. Yeah, it was very good. Very good. Not on my list either, for the same reason.
I thought that, it was like, It was way funnier than I thought it was gonna be. I think it's like PTA's funniest movie.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, even like Punch Drunk Love included, which is also a very funny film, but this is like laugh out loud funny, like absolutely hysterical.
So it's really funny. I really enjoyed it. But at a certain point, I had the same feeling that I had with The Power of the Dog, where it's like, okay, so is anything going to happen in this movie, or are we just going to get these like short stories that follow on each other? You know what I mean? Because it's like there's something happens and then that part ends, and then that leads to the next thing, and then it ends, and then that leads to the next thing, and then it ends. And then at some point, I was just like, okay, how many of these is there going to be? Because we've been here for like 2 hours. I'm not taking away. Every individual story was amazing, and I love Bradley Cooper's performance in this.
Oh my god,
so good! Holy crap!
The most unhinged man on so much cocaine. It's wild.
So good. And then also, I didn't know that it was Philip Seymour Hoffman's son.
Yeah.
Who's the? So I was like, oh, and
how
obviously
was his performance?
it's so good.
Yeah,
Bruh, it's like, and after I found that out, because I didn't know it when I saw the movie, but after I found that out, it's like, oh yeah, he was acting a lot like similar to, Philip Seymour Hoffman. So I thought that was really cool,
that's
really nice. I just at a certain point wasn't really interested in the characters anymore. I was just like, okay, where's this gonna go? Like at a certain point, I didn't know why we were still going.
yeah. I think for me, at a certain point, I didn't care.
How is it?
I just wanted to be with these people's lives forever.
Fair. I think I was like that in the beginning as well, but then I found myself yawning, and as soon as I yawn in a movie, I'm like, okay, wait, am I yawning because I'm just tired from like other things, or am I like keen to not watch this anymore? And that's where I was. I was just like, this is a lot.
Did he write it as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yes.
Very good.
I love that guy. My favorite film of his is Phantom Thread, though. That's my.
That's very good.
I just really love that film.
But that's for another discussion. That's for a discussion of 3 years ago. Cool. Yeah. So let's move on.
What's the next up on the list, man?
This one's gonna be the spicy one.
Okay.
Spencer.
Spencer.
I
Okay, so
love
we
that
have
movie.
seen Spencer,
All three of us.
all three of us. So spoilers ahead.
It was very suspenseful.
Moving on. That was good.
Okay, Spencer's on my bad list.
Controversial.
Controversial.
Spencer's.
Jaco's personal opinion is wrong.
Okay, so the reason it's on my bad list, okay, before we talk about all the good stuff about it, I have not seen The Crown, not because I don't like it or whatever. It's just I saw the first season, and then when the second season came around, I just didn't watch it. But and I'm 27 now, so I was born in 1995. So she died in 1997, which I was 2 when my brother was born. So we weren't really in this generation that knew a lot about Diana. My mom knows a lot about her. My grandma knew a lot. My grandma knew a lot about her, but I didn't. So I went into this movie, and the thing that I didn't like about it is that it made Diana look like she was just spoiled, rich white woman. She's like, oh no, I have to wear these clothes on this time. Oh no, I have to do this. I have to do that. And they just didn't provide the context. Afterwards, Kyllian and Mark told me that it was like really hectic and she didn't really have a choice to marry Prince Charles. But the movie didn't tell me any of that. And maybe it didn't have to. Maybe that was the point. Maybe it was only for people who know the story. But I came out of that like, I don't care about her. She's literally just ruining all the traditions that these people have had for hundreds of years, and it doesn't tell us why. So that's how I felt about Spencer, and that's why I put it on my bad list. I'm sure I'll enjoy The Crown more because then I'll have the context.
Yeah, I think I understand. Look, I said it's one of my favorites as well. But I understand what you're saying with it has zero context, especially for like a generation that didn't really grow up with the television and stuff like that, and all of the tours and stuff like that. But I think I see where you're coming from. Where like it's maybe like almost like like for a comic book person watching a comic book film, like fan service to people that know the kind of story and like know a bit of into it, because then that kind of pain that building up to it, like I said, like when I watch The Crown and all of these things, like it just gives you that extra bit of content and stuff onto how that emotions was. Because I get so angry when I watch The Crown and when I watch all these things that for me, when I watch the movie, like you're seeing it towards the end of after the accumulation of all of those bad things. So I completely get what you're saying when you say like maybe people that didn't grow up with it might not understand. But for me, I loved it on every level in terms of like the cinematography was my favorite. They shot it on film, right? And
16
and the colors just looked. That film made me really want to just shoot like on film, and just the framing and just I loved the balance also, like just kind of like a experimental film, kind of like when we went into like the psychosis of everything, and I just really liked how they depicted all of those scenes. And for me, I just like for me it like was very similar to Phantom Thread in like its style of framing and its style of shots and stuff like that. I don't know, I have like some kind of affinity to that kind of style of film. But I really, really loved it just because also, like I said, I like went into it very angry. I literally finished The Crown the day before and it was literally ending on her scenes. And when I went into that movie, it just made me came in angry already. So yeah.
I think that I really enjoyed it because Kristen Stewart's performance is just
That's very true.
brilliant. And I also like that, these biopics, well, it's not technically a biopic, which is kind of why I like it, is it's just like 3 days, like a slice of someone's life, instead of doing this sort of, birth to death kind of situation. I feel like you understand more about a person if it's just like a little slice.
Let's say I didn't.
But I think that, I personally didn't feel that you needed to get all of the context to appreciate it, because I didn't feel like she was portrayed as someone who was like whinging a lot, because if you get all of these traditions, he shows you all of the ridiculousness of the traditions. That's the thing. Like, you're coming from the point of view where you're thinking that she's destroying all of these traditions, but I feel like the film's coming from a point of view of saying that these traditions are weird and suffocating and strange. Like the fact that they have to weigh themselves, all of the chefs and stuff that sort
stitching
curtains closed and like walking in line. It's like all about the royal family being as petty as possible, because then it's the same thing with Meghan Markle today, which is I think is why the film is so relevant now, is because the royal family now doesn't have sort of as drastic control as they did, but what they do now is very petty, small, subtle things that like suffocate a person. And like the reason why I feel like it's really important now is because you're able to see why Meghan Markle feels the same way. It's almost like making a film about Spencer now is showing that history is repeating itself. And because a lot of people are complaining like Meghan Markle's she's too much of like a drama queen. She was given everything and she's whinging, and she's literally saying like, I'm suffocating. All of the traditions are weird, and it's like this weird twisted world where everyone doesn't say things to your face, but they'll like subtly do things like that. I think that
I see.
I see what you're saying, but I also like there's a lot of people who there's like culture nowadays of like, let's not have traditions anymore. Let's get rid of things, and they that's the way they lived, and that's what you're marrying into. So I feel like I don't know. I think traditions are cool and quirky and funny, and I don't think they should disappear. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, I see both of you guys' sides, and I think it's awesome up for debate. And yeah, I think this is what we wanted. But yeah, we both have like these different sides to the viewers, and I'm sure there's people that feel like how we both feel each way. But yeah, let's move on from that. Okay, Mark,
honourable.
What is your honourable mentions? Fire them at us.
Okay, honorable mentions quickly. Dune, amazing. It was gonna be one of my top, and then I saw Licorice Pizza. Shiver Baby,
I haven't seen that.
incredible. It's how you can sort of apply genre conventions to a film that's not necessarily that.
Yeah.
So it's
Don't
like,
talk about it too much because it's on my other list, so I'm going to talk about it.
yeah, I'm not giving away anything. It's sort of framed and shot like a horror or sort of thriller,
amazing.
suspense, but it's not,
amazing.
And the most controversial one that people will hate me for and fight me, I'll be down in the comments. Matrix Resurrections was amazing.
Yeah, I think Jaco feels the same way about it.
It was amazing.
It's pretty good.
Come at me. Go. I've had this argument many times. If you say it's bad, I'll be
Mark
at
will be
you.
putting all his personal details down in the bottom.
Phone me. Put my phone number.
All right, cool. And then films you
Did not like.
Yeah. That film Kate on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
I was expecting, I don't know. I try not to obviously have expectations, but from watching the trailer, I was like, oh my gosh, this seems...
It was like an Atomic Blonde type thing.
Yeah, this seems like it can go in interesting places, and then it felt like it was just trying to go into interesting places, but then it ended up... It's almost like, I know this is probably a controversial thing to say, but it felt like, in Deadpool, when they were trying to make his girlfriend seem like more than a damsel in distress, right? And everything that she said was like, I'm more than a damsel in distress, but then the actual plot of the film was her being a damsel in distress. It's like, as much as you can have these characters say that they aren't these things,
And then they do it.
you have the structure fights against you, and it's like they had this like extremely cliched structure, but all of their characters were interesting and trying to fight against that structure, and it's like it's like weird cognitive dissonance that I didn't think really worked.
And you know what was really interesting about Kate was, I think it was like a month before Kate came out, Netflix released a movie called Peanut Butter Milkshake. Or
Oh, yeah.
is it Peanut Butter Milkshake?
It's something
Strawberry
milkshake.
milkshake.
Strawberry. No, where's my phone?
Gunpowder.
Gunpowder Milkshake. So they released a movie called Gunpowder Milkshake with Kyllian.
Karen Gillan.
Karen Gillan. With Karen Gillan, and it was basically the same movie.
Style and
I think that Gunpowder Milkshake was better than Kate. But they had the exact same like story idea. It's still not I mean, it's an okay movie if you just want to see female action, but it's not anything special, I don't think.
And then the last one is, I don't know, everyone didn't like it, the new Space Jam.
Didn't you say you enjoyed it?
No, it was really bad, but it was fun seeing Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Everyone's hopes were high. I feel like the Looney Tunes are always good. They're always going to be funny, but it just made me appreciate Looney Tunes as a thing, not like the film. I was like, man, the Looney Tunes are a good thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
like cramming all of the Warner Brothers stuff in there is just like we've done this already with
having the
One.
Clockwork Orange characters in the corner of the bad guys was weird because they're literal rapists. I don't understand. They were there every single time it cut to the bad guy's corner, and I was like, that's weird. And I was speaking to my roommate about this, is that we watched the first one, I think, before we watched the second one again. And the first one is so unashamedly just weird.
Yeah.
It's a freaking weird movie.
The story is
but
weird.
in the best way possible. And then it felt like in this one, they had to like explain everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just have fun.
One thing though that was really funny.
That's the best joke.
Best joke that could only
an
work
incredible joke,
one time in a century is obviously the first Space Jam had Michael Jordan in it, right? And then right
So
before
good.
the game starts,
And it's when they're losing. It's halfway through.
halfway through. One of the Looney Tunes is like, guys, I found Michael Jordan, he's here. And we're like, oh, is this going to be like a cool moment? And then Michael B. Jordan comes in and they're like, wrong Michael.
That's
so good.
You
And
can't even argue with that joke. It's so good. Like,
it's such a good.
I was watching it and not enjoying it, and I was like, you gotta give props. That's amazing. It's so fun.
So is that everything?
Yeah.
Was
Sorry,
nice.
I went on for
Really
too
Do you
long.
want to go first?
I'll go.
All right.
So my list is okay. First of all, Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
I haven't seen it yet.
So good. Holy
Ghostbusters. Oh my gosh, I literally watched
crap.
it.
I can't give a spoiler because Mark.
Yeah, I won't
hasn't
give
seen
any
it.
spoilers, but I watched
So
it with my
good.
wife this weekend, and like she wasn't really the biggest fan. Well, not the biggest fan, but like I don't think a lot of people remember the first Ghostbusters that well. But like we watched it, and like everything just came back, and you didn't realize it's the movie you missed, but like the nostalgia of it, the way it's directed, it's the director's son or something.
Yeah, the original director's son.
And it kind of feels like that. It's just like it's way better than that other Ghostbusters that they made where it was just playing for like weird comedy. It wasn't really like giving like deep stories or deep cuts or anything like that. This one for me was like such an amazing film. I loved like how they did like a Stranger Things with it where they set it in like a small town.
Well, they had the
the kid, they had the actor.
It's literally like we need an actor for a nostalgic 80s
But
movie.
it's so weird because it feels so 80s, but also feels so 2021 because like, I mean, there's a kid named Podcast and all of that. But like, for me, that was such a great film.
Very
and like,
good.
also, like you said, like, they don't go too deep in explaining things, but there's weird things in there, but you're so okay with it, you know? Like, there's things in there from like the old films. And in this movie, you don't like, it doesn't feel corny or anything. It just feels right. And
very good.
yeah, for me, Ghostbusters was one of my favorites. Like, I came out of that really happy.
That sounds good because, as I said, with Space Jam, the first Ghostbusters movies are weird, like, but in the best kind of way. They're just like,
and it addresses like some really really funny things from the other movies. So yeah, that's my number. Well, not in any order. Okay, and then Dune is on there.
Dune's also on my
Dune was amazing. The three of us watched it together with Mark's dad because we're cool.
No, but Mark's dad read the book. He saw the first one when it came out,
and he actually he gave some backstory after the film
really
and
cool,
things like that. So that was really nice. Yeah, no, I loved everything about Dune. I love the director. I feel like he's. I
just wish they ended it differently because it's a half of a movie.
It's definitely a half of a movie, but for me, because I love sci-fi so much, I just feel like that director balances it so well in terms of like it's like massive sci-fi with giant worms and things like that, but like the way he films it feels so serious and it feels so heavy. And like as well, when he was doing that scene breakdown, when he was talking about the scene where Tim the Shell Man was putting his hand in the box and stuff like that, and he was describing it.
The
and
and
he was talking about like he was breaking it down, like how they made that box, but like they made it so that his hand couldn't, like it would fit just enough, so it wouldn't feel like he has room and things like that. And even like I don't know, that whole scene was
very
amazing.
good.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
I just wish they ended it differently.
Yeah, no, same. Because like I feel like,
but I'm just keen for the next.
When I take people to watch it, then I always have to give them that context before, like, listen, this is a part 1. So that I think that's what gives it puts it as a 9 out of 10, as opposed to a 10 out of 10, just that ending. But yeah, no, I think they did everything really, really well done. And then my third film, which will not be a big surprise to you guys, is Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh my gosh.
I still haven't seen it, so.
So good, bro.
So you're gonna have to pull an Andrew Garfield. Just deny everything.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah, spoilers ahead as well.
No, but he hasn't seen it.
No, but I'm saying minor spoilers, because that was a spoiler kind of.
No, he said Andrew Garfield denied it.
Yeah, but
that's
okay.
Just deny
it. But for me, what I loved the most was just the cinema experience more than anything. Because from because of the pandemic, we missed those big moments when you have crowds and they're reacting like those, like you had in Endgame and Infinity War. We just had those moments where you're reacting with the crowd and you're kicking someone off their chair in front of you. Sorry, Jaco, about that.
No, but I think that's also a really good experience, what you're saying, because I've never went to a movie before Endgame, and I've never had anybody during the movie oh, that's so cool, or reacting or screaming, or never had that. And then I went to go see Endgame, and there's all these things that happen and people just going crazy. I was like, oh man, I'm never gonna have this experience again. And then Spider-Man comes and it's even better.
From the beginning, you're just getting those notes.
Exactly. And I was like, I've never had this
Yeah,
ever before.
was I
It's so
shaking
good.
you or my brother?
No, yeah.
My brother-in-law and Jaco were sitting in front of me, and every scene there's something big is revealed. I'm just shaking them like crazy in front of me. And Jaco's like, yeah.
Not even me. He's like, yeah, I can see it.
And I just look at Jaco like,
Literally.
so yeah, that was
good.
amazing. And besides those moments, like I just thought it was a really great film. I thought it answered a very like important question about like being with Spider-Man at the end. Like, what does it mean to be a friend or in a relationship with a hero? Like, I thought that ending really hit that note really well for me. And if it didn't end like that, I would have actually been kind of not let down, but I would have been upset with the choices. But
I think Zendaya is the best MJ we've had because no faults of Kirsten Dunst, but like the first MJ that was written for her,
Damsel in
she
distress.
was very much a damsel in distress. And then in the third one, which I'm sad that everybody hates that one because they actually tried to give her a proper storyline. And that's when she actually just became like a real person.
I told Spider-Man 3, the
Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. And then also like Gwen Stacy in The Amazing Spider-Man.
She was like half and half.
Also like half and half. Like they were trying to do it, but they couldn't really get there. But then Michelle Jones.
MJ.
What's her name? Michelle Jones.
Michelle Jones
Watson. Yeah. She's so good. Zendaya just brings like a whole nother level.
And her humor and like there's a scene where like Doctor Strange is this really like this is in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. But like Doctor Strange is this tough guy, like everyone looks up to him, and then he tells him to do something. And she's like, "Listen, you speak to us properly." Kind of vibes. And it's just, and even at the end, she's helping in coming up with the idea to
exactly.
But yeah, like for me,
very good.
Everything there's so much like Ghostbusters. There was so much nostalgia that hit me. But yeah, so those are my 3 best films. So being the nerd that I am, my honourable mentions are Justice League Snyder Cut. That was one of my favorites.
Okay.
And then Suicide Squad, the James Gunn, the new James
that
Gunn
was
Suicide
fun.
Squad.
That was fun, yeah.
That was
a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you can see the nerd. And then my dislikes was Mortal Kombat. That was
I didn't even watch that.
We watched it together. What do you mean? I said right there.
That's how forgettable it is.
Yeah, for me, they didn't even have the Mortal Kombat in the movie. It was like, and they added some new character that turned into like some scaly guy and he was the main guy. And then my last dislike is The Unforgivable with
Sandra Bullock sees.
I haven't seen it.
I thought it was just so like a lot of people said there was such a big plot twist, but I thought it was so predictable from the beginning.
I haven't seen it, but I predicted the plot twist.
Yeah.
Before I saw it, because just by hearing about it, but also I've been thinking about it, and I wonder, was there a show about the same story or something? Because I've definitely seen that exact same thing happen somewhere else. And I can't remember where, but I can remember the scene that is the big twist in the movie that I just guessed. But also I know I can remember that actual scene happening somewhere else. So I don't know, maybe it was an adaptation of something and that's why I guessed it. But yeah, I'm not keen on it.
I think also what made me dislike it, which is actually kind of weird, is that also the social media hype behind it, where people are saying Sandra Bullock's best performance and things like that. I was like, sis, what are you talking about? Like, you can definitely see she put the work in, but I don't think the story and the direction was strong enough. Like, you can see that it's a A-list actor in there, but I feel like it was like a B story.
It's disappointing because she's so good.
She's amazing.
But then she's in average things.
Yeah.
You're just like, and then she gets this bad name, and you're like, but she's amazing. But she's just in these like average things.
Nicolas Cage because he doesn't care about anything.
But he's found this like this whole reinvention of himself.
That film was a hit and a miss for me. And my wife, which Jaco knows, she predicts things pretty easily. And this is like the first time that we both predicted, like in the first 10 minutes, I was like, the way they're filming this is like, do you see where this twist is going? And it's just like,
Kyllian's wife predicted 7. No,
7 and Fight Club.
And Fight Club.
Not like to the T, but like the major points. I spoke to Jaco
I'm never watching a movie with.
It's because even when I write scripts and I make her read it, she's like, so this is what's gonna happen. I'm like, just please read the thing every single time. Man.
Yeah, you can't watch if it's in a cinema. It's fine because then she can't. Then she spoils for Kyllian.
She spoiled like the Joker.
So that's fine.
Okay,
but anyway. not at home or anything. I'm not.
It's gonna be tough when she watches my first feature, but it's fine. But yeah, what's your list?
What's my list? Okay, let's see. So the best, well, okay, not the best. My list, in no particular order,
Particular order.
was particular. It was first up. I'm going to say Inside from Bo Burnham. I know that's not technically a feature film,
Yes, it is.
but yeah,
It's
he
a
keeps calling it a
masterpiece.
special.
I
but
feel
it's
like
not.
if he didn't call it a special, I think we would have got some Oscar nominations.
Exactly. It
honestly.
really, I mean, everybody spoke. When it came out, there was like 100 YouTube videos talking about it. And it really does capture
So
both like the loneliness of being in the pandemic during a lockdown and also like the mind of a creator. Like for YouTube stuff as well, it's like you always go through these like constant things where you're like, oh, is this even a good idea or whatever? And yeah. So Inside, very good. I don't know if he's allowed to get an Oscar nomination for it, but he should.
You should.
Literally, when I watched it I think 3 times in one day because you kept telling me about it. And when I watched it, like, hey, that's the guy from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, Bo Burnham is in one.
But like
episode of
when you
Parks and Rec.
said it, like depicts the creative space and like the pandemic, but I feel like it also just in general like loneliness and growing up and reaching certain ages and things like that, and like self-critiquing. Like it's so good, and then it just has a whole bunch of blanket also like coverage on a whole lot of other issues as well. That's like really really well done and
And it's
smartly
got
done.
this like arc.
Mm.
It's like a
That
it's like a
ending-
full on.
that
It's like a
ending,
story.
It is. Yeah.
But like, how did you?
Yeah, like the ending was very light spoiler, but it was very like similar to the Truman Show. Like it had that vibe at the end.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
loved
that's
it.
definitely
I
a
loved
good
it.
reference. Yeah.
Very good.
So
Okay.
good.
So that's one of them. And then I'm going to say Pig next, Nicolas Cage.
Oh, that was nice.
I really enjoyed that. I thought it was so good. They advertised it as like the John Wick of the pig world, the chef world, but it wasn't at all.
Big one.
It really wasn't, but it had that like vibe, and it was just so good, and it like reminds you again that Nicolas Cage is a good actor.
So good.
He just is poor because he keeps spending all his money. And I was doing that movie with the unbearable weight of massive talent.
He looks so
The
good.
unbearable weight of massive talent.
I feel like he just loves doing things. I feel like he doesn't even care about script. I feel like he just likes doing things for fun. Because he even said he's never going to stop acting even when he's like in his 90s.
He's
he never
very
stops.
good. He just does weird.
Because even his weird things are so entertaining. Like when Jaco saw this one thing where he's getting attacked by bees and the way he's reacting, and it's just
That's the Wicker Man, isn't it?
yeah, the Wicker Man. That scene, it's just
But even
going
like Mandy recently.
I haven't seen that.
So wild. It's so
Which one
good.
is that?
The one that's like a massive acid trip.
Is it the one that's like set in the future, like dystopian? Because I saw one that's like a dystopian thing, and then there's this whole
There's
brand
like
that he goes
a
on.
cult. That
Yes,
like
yes,
kills-
yes.
Oof.
Weird.
There's a scene where someone takes out a chainsaw, and a villain takes out a chainsaw, a long chainsaw. No, it's him. He takes out a long chainsaw, and then the villain just takes out an even longer chainsaw, and then they fight with it. And you're like, yeah.
Weird.
Amazing.
Okay, so yeah, that's amazing. I think Nicolas Cage is obviously super underrated. I always come back to the Community episode where they're like, is Nicolas Cage a good actor?
And it drives him crazy.
It's so good.
Drives
It's-
him crazy.
he's Big, highly recommended. Very good. Then I had Dune on there, and but I think Dune should move to the honourable mention, and I want to bump up Don't Look Up to my top. To the top 3 because it's so good as well. It's like so sad and like what's the word? Depressing, but it's so funny
and angry and wholesome.
It's for me. It's also really like it's amazing, but it's not my favorite Adam McKay movie. Like,
Is it?
My favorite, I think, is Vice. That's like Vice
really?
and like. But for me, I love his work, and I love how he always balances like political satire and like.
Well, yeah, I think this is like return to comedy for him as well because he's been doing like the Big Short, which also had funny moments.
like touch on,
But because you did Anchorman, right?
did
so you did a
Anchorman,
lot of
Step
comedies,
Brothers.
exactly.
Talladega Nights.
Did a lot of comedies, and I was coming back to And then he did obviously Big Short and whatever. So I really enjoyed it. I found out recently that it was a $75 million budget, but they spent $55 million on the actors.
Goals. That's intense.
That's wild.
That's
also, it's
insane.
been a very controversial movie. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
Also, if you hate it, come at me. I'll be down in the comments.
You're just gonna give Mark's address with us. He lives next door.
Yeah. Well, don't say that. Then they know where I live.
But they don't know what door is this.
That's true. So, anyways, that was very
So
good.
good.
That's very good.
The thing that people have been saying though is that it's like they're like, oh, it's not going to do anything to like help the climate crisis, and I'm like, when did did you watch the movie? It's about people.
But also that's
it's
kind
about
of
it's the reaction of
But
the
also-
people to
but also
the
that's
thing.
kind of like meta as well, because that's exactly what's happening in there. People watch it now and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, so don't go.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, yes, it could be about the climate crisis, but it could also be about the pandemic. It could
But it's
Yeah.
also just about people higher up as well. Like for me, what got to me was the news people, the government, and like also like the guys in charge of these tech companies. Like that for me was the most interesting parts. Like how they are so obsessed with money and so
you know,
obsessed. Yeah.
something that's interesting is I started watching the show yesterday on Netflix. It just was recommended to me. It's called Salvation, and it's literally the exact same premise. Asteroid is heading to Earth, but it's with none of the comedy.
Which sounds
And it's
depressing.
like, and it's like, how are these people going to do it? And I don't know if he saw it before he decided to make this, because that came out in like 2017 already. But it's really interesting to see how they did it back then and how he's doing it now. And it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Okay, cool.
Honourable mentions.
No, that's all I wanted to say. Okay, moving on. No, so Dune is my honourable mention.
Oh, okay,
That's
cool.
it.
I just want to also say, I don't know if I say about my honorable mention also, I wanted to say that Shiver Baby was also really good. It's amazing. Yeah.
So then my worst movies was The Guilty, which was this
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
Oh, the one that's
Yeah,
like
I
a
watched that
remake.
in- I
It's a
fell
remake
asleep.
of something. Obviously it was like one of the first things that they were trying to shoot in the
My wife
pandemic,
also hated it. Yeah.
but it's just not good. I've seen a lot of movies before where it's just in one room and it's like trying to build the drama or whatever, but it just didn't quite get there. And Jake Gyllenhaal did his best. You know?
And that's an amazing
He's really
director
good.
also. I was very disappointed because he's done some killers.
I think they were all just too afraid to really try things, understandably because of the pandemic, right? So there's a lot of restrictions that they had. So I can understand that, but it's like it just didn't quite get there, which is unfortunate. Yeah.
They're saying that they didn't want to try too many things in the pandemic, and then something went wrong, and then they felt guilty.
And that's our podcast.
So next was Spencer, which we spoke about, and then the Tomorrow War. Guys, I love.
You
time
went
travel
on such a
movies.
tangent for the
I
same
love
one.
time travel movies. I really do. But the Tomorrow War was so bad. It was just
Why was it bad?
Do you see
Yeah.
they're making a sequel?
no.
Called the yesterday ball.
I hope so. It's like they go to the future.
Spoilers.
They send okay, yeah, spoilers. Are we okay with spoilers? It's a
I'm
bad
fine,
movie. Don't
yeah.
watch it. They go to the future. They take people from the past into the future to fight the bad guys. Why don't you just go back before it happened and stop it from happening? Why do you take people from the past into the
If you
future?
have time travel, that doesn't make
And
sense.
they only take people who are already dead in the future. So it's like, oh, well, you're not going to meet your second self.
I will not be motivated to fight in a war if I know I'm going to die.
Well, you're not going to die in the war necessarily.
No, but I mean, like, I'm gonna feel so sad. Like, okay, we're taking you.
You're just
because
not going to make it
expendable.
this far. It's so bad. And it's sad because I like Chris Pratt and I like Yvonne Strahovski. And like, it was a cool premise, but it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. And then, bruh, everything that I just said about going back in time. Then when they after they get defeated in the future, they come back to the past. And then they try to stop it anyways. And it's like, why did you
Just do
send
that in the
people then?
beginning. It sounds like a movie I wrote And after, when I was like still in film school, what was it called? The Third, where also like I was pulling people from the past, like I was pulling samurais from this era, and I was pulling. But yeah, it just doesn't make. If you have access to time travel, why fight the war now? Why not? But I haven't watched it. I wanted to watch it until you told me that.
No,
and then
it's
I was like,
don't watch it. Please.
Mishishi Megumi.
What's the word?
Gives a bad name to time travel.
Yes. It
does a disservice.
This does a disservice to time
travel. It does a disservice. Also, one more honourable mention from my side. Sorry, I keep forgetting. Being the Ricardos. That was also. I love that.
Oh yeah. That was
a good one.
That was cool.
Nicole Kidman's good at acting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about how you.
They would try to get out of their contracts, both Javier Bardem and Nicole Kidman. Kidman. It was very good. There was like controversy about ethnicities and stuff.
And age.
I
went in there kind of angry with her just because I have a personal grudge because her bodyguard pushed my cell phone out of the way when I tried to take a picture.
In Toronto.
In Toronto. I still got the picture though.
Stop hijacking my segment.
One more.
Okay, so the last one I'm going to say was not good for me is the Card Counter, which me and Mark went to go see.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Which is very good. What's his name?
Paul Schrader.
Paul Schrader. I love his stuff. I mean, what is that other one that he did before with Ethan Hawke?
First Reformed.
First Reformed was amazing.
Oh, that was a good film.
First Reformed was amazing.
Oh, was it him?
Yeah,
doing this
Paul
one?
Schrader. And obviously Paul Schrader has written Taxi. Yeah, Taxi Driver. So he's very good. He's like a legend. But this film just didn't have anything for me. It was super boring. There didn't feel like there were any stakes. The character, when they were introducing him and stuff, I didn't care about him.
The trailer looked very generic.
It was very generic. That's a good word that I would use to describe that movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's a grass. What do you call it? Grass cutter.
There's a grass cutter. A lawn eater.
Sorry, there's a lawnmower that just came up. Sorry.
Yeah, no, like for me, I was first excited because it's one of the scripts that I have that I wanted to read because it seemed interesting. But then I watched the trailer and I was like, do I even want to read the script now? Because it didn't seem that enthralling or anything like that. I don't know.
I don't think that it hit all of its marks, but
He just hit Mark. For listeners.
I hit the marks.
I didn't know about that thing that they deal with in his past. It's like a true thing. I can't remember the specific name.
Oh, the whole military operation.
Yeah, the torture and it's very hectic.
Yeah.
I loved how he used the 360 camera. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
To do the flashback stuff was terrifying. Feels like it goes 60-70%, and then it doesn't just because it goes into the. I feel like the thing that you're saying with the stakes is very true because it I did feel like the ending was pretty good. There's a really good scene at the end, but
yeah, I don't know as well. The way he did that ending scene was it's all building up to this, and then within 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's strange. Yeah, because First Reformed goes in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and it feels like the Card Counter really goes in all of the flashback stuff, which is it's cool, it's great because you have to show the sort of context that fills up everything else, but then in the present it didn't really
connect.
Yeah, there's interesting moments, but it didn't.
I
feel like it doesn't work as a whole. If you're interested in his other stuff, it's to see how it fits because it's very much in that sort of Paul Schrader thing of a dejected man who doesn't fit in. It's in that sort of wheelhouse. But
yeah, so if it was another director, I would say don't watch it. But because Paul Schrader, he's very good, and it's good to watch his whole body of work.
Yeah, there's moments, I would say.
Yeah, cool. When
If
you're
you could just
talking-
watch those little
You
moments.
made it sound very interesting, especially when you're talking about 360 cam and
Yeah.
scenes and stuff. Like, it sounds interesting. It sounds,
But it
Yeah,
doesn't.
but it doesn't.
It doesn't like even in the use of the 360 cam, right? It doesn't have a specific like. It doesn't like pay off. You know what I mean? Like you feel like it's gonna pay off in some way, in all of these other films like pay off so brilliantly, and the payoff is like good, but like 60-70% of the way. It's like
that sucks.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but yeah, I can see how it's definitely on like a disappointing list.
Oh,
you know?
I'll give it a look as well because it seems interesting.
Cool. But that wraps up our list.
Oh, wait, one more.
That wraps up our list of good and bad movies of 2021. We're not going to try to make Oscar predictions because that's just, I don't know how they do that.
Going down a rabbit hole.
Exactly. So if you have seen any of these movies and you agree/disagree, please leave those comments down in the comment section, which is in the name. So please tell us what you thought about it. And why? You know, we want to engage, and you know, it's movies are there to like experience, and like part of the experience is talking about.
And let us know if you want to do more lists as well, like TV series or things like that. And yeah, let us know if you'd like Mark's address to fight him.
Matrix. If you don't like Matrix Resurrections, if you don't like Don't Look Up, I respect your opinion, but also far more sort of in a petty way, fight me.
There you have it. So subscribe, and that Mark's address will immediately pop into your email.
Thanks.
I mean, I can't promise that. But yes, please subscribe if you like the stuff we do. A lot of videos on filmmaking, editing, writing, you know, camera reviews. So whatever you want, I'm sure there's something that you'd like. And speaking of liking, smash the like button, huh? You can do that, and then YouTube's like, oh, cool, let's send it to more people. And then we don't have the super disappointing impressions.
And then more people will get my address, and then I'll fight more people.
And then we can film that, we can live stream that.
And wait till be Fight Club Part 2.
Fight Club, except everybody will talk about
Film club, and it's just me and someone like,
Film Fight Club.
somebody to know.
So yes, thank you, and until next time, go out there, stay safe,
And make your movie.